there, Natalie with you today with a new process video for Scrapbook Nerd. And this week I created a layout with one single idea, and my idea was I want to use black paint on my background. Then the rest is just things that I have in my stash, things that I've been willing to work with, and let me show you what I did better. So I knew that I wanted to add black paint to my background. So I have this little containers of Dana Weekly heavy body acrylic paint. This is all from Scrapbook Nerd, and I'm using marshmallow cardstock as my background. So all I'm gonna do is pull one of my acrylic brushes. I want the harder bristles of acrylic brush to add the background onto my page, and I'm gonna use the black paint, and you're gonna see that I'm just sweeping paint. It's not gonna be a heavy application. You're gonna see that you see a lot of feathering strokes, and that's the way that I want about it. If I wanted to, I could make it darker, but I just wanted something really dark in the center and just the feather look on the side. So you're gonna see that a little bit's gonna go a long way. And just to finish my layout, because my background, sorry, because if you know my work, then you guys know I love splatters. So I'm just gonna dilute some of the paint that I have left over, and then just with a bit of water, and then just use the brush to add it onto my page. And now I wanted to get those little flickering splatters. So all I'm doing is I am actually gathering the paint and kind of flicking the brush on top of the page, and that gives me that little splatter with the tail, which I love. And I set it aside to dry for a little bit. Now I went into my little stash of dies, and I found these two. I really like the butterflies. I've used them before. I used them on my TN, but I've never used this Pinkfresh Studio Frame, and it's called Floral Frame with a swan, and I really like it. I love the fact that the flowers pop up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it from white cardstock, and I had this idea of mixing them together, but you're going to see that only the flower frame comes into play. So I pulled a few papers that I really like, and I bought them, and I haven't used them. This is the Carta Flower Market and the Splendor collection. I really love florals. The picture that I'm documenting is of my daughter. She's in final exam. The kid studies hard. Studying doesn't come that easily to her, so she puts a lot of effort into it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play with layers. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a few of the 3x4 cards from the Splendor collection for my mind's eye. And I really like the pink with the teal and white, and that's going to be pretty much the base where I'm going to place my picture. Now I knew that I wanted to use the frame kind of as a layer, something like the little flowers are going to pop, you know, because the little petals lift. So my idea was I'm going to have it like, you know, just lifting the petals. So once I play with some of the formation and how I wanted to see, you're going to see that I stapled these three pieces together, and that's going to already create a little bit of a lift from the next paper. And then I'm going to glue my picture in place. But before I glue it onto the next layer, I'm thinking, you know what, I have all that extra piece of the die cut behind it that it's just wasting there. So you're gonna see that I'm gonna trim it, and then I'm gonna add a little bit of foam adhesive behind these layers to attach it to that piece of the striped paper that's from the Flower Market collection from Carta. And I picked that. I'm not a fan of red, but I really like the fact that it brings some of that peach and those pinks, and it combines really nice with the colors that I'm using, and red and black is a perfect combination. Like I said, I went to this layout with no plan. So I'm putting this together, and I'm thinking, what if I fold a little corner? I would like to see more of the background. So I folded, and I like the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and staple it together. And I'm going, okay, I have all the die cut. What if I have another piece of the die cut coming out from the background? Again, this is how my brain works. It's just like, you know, I'm going, okay, maybe this looks good, and I'm just adding things together. So I put it in place. Don't like the fact that it's a lot sticking out. So I'm going, what if I just make it look like it's part of the rectangle shape that I'm already creating? So you're going to see that I'm going to glue it. I'm going to move it around until I'm happy. Then I'm going to go ahead and glue it in place and cut any excess. Like whatever I'm not going to use, I'm going to cut it, because the way it's shaping, if you see it, it has a curvature. It's creating a curvature on the paper. So I'm going to use the other part later on in the layout. And then I'm going to bring some of the teal paper. Again, I'm creating those rectangles, and even the peach paper that you see at the bottom of the screen is going to make into play. Once I have them all in place, I'm going to use the edge of my scissors just to distress the edges a bit. I don't want major distress. I just want it to not be so straight. So I'm going to just distress the edges a bit, give it a little bit of a rough finish. And then before I glue it onto my layout, I'm going to add a little piece of chipboard, or not chipboard, this is just thick cardstock. I wanted a little bit of a lift from the paper, but I didn't want to use foam adhesive because it's going to be really thick. So chipboard was a great choice, and I have lots of it, because when you have paper shipped to you, usually comes between those little pieces of chipboard so they won't fall. So I usually keep it and I comes in handy. So I just cut a piece to fit behind my layers, and I'm going to glue it straight onto the center of the background that I already created with the black paint. Now that I have that in place, I'm going to start working on embellishing this layer. And while I was building all the layers, I had this idea that it looks like an inverted L. So I'm going to add my title, pretty much I'm going to say on the other side of the L. And I really like this lovely ephemera piece that comes from the Splendor collection. And this sticker comes from the Carta flower marker collection. So I'm going to just, like I said, I'm going to add some foam adhesive behind it just to make sure that they're level with the layers and the picture. And then once I have that in place, I'm going to bring, these are Paige Evans mini alphas. I believe this is from the Pick Me, no, it's not Pick Me Up collection. The one before the one before Horizon, and I really love the fact that it's like a soft blush and it's gonna combine with some of the colors that I already have on the layers of the paper. So my title is gonna spell Lovely, Truly Wondrous Life, and really that's what it is. Even though my daughter puts a lot of effort, you know what, you gotta bless her and celebrate what it is. So I'm just gonna start embellishing, and I'm gonna bring stickers. I'm gonna bring brads because I have them. I love them. I don't use them enough, so why not just use them here? So you're gonna see that I'm gonna repeat the element. So one of the things I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring that little tab that says important, I believe, and then the little tab the little brad that says hello. This is from Carta, and the little tab is from Splendor. And I know that I'm gonna add my little cluster there because I wanted to balance that little die cut. And then I'm bringing this bow. As soon as I saw it in the 12 by 12 sticker sheet, I knew it was going to come into my layout. So I didn't know where I was going to place it, and I really like it at the bottom of right of the picture. I think it's going to build my triangle. So I am going to add a few more elements that I'm going to create my cluster, and just to make sure that they don't stick out, I'm going to repeat them throughout my 3 little points that make the visual triangle. So you're going to see that that's going to be my second point of the triangle. So I am going to add a brad. I'm going to add some sort of peach element. So I added a little flower, and you're gonna see that because I added the little happy element there, and I added I'm also gonna add some round pieces. I'm gonna bring some of that little what do you call it, like a little block or a little phrase sticker, and because I have that in the title, I'm gonna also add it in each one of my little clusters. Then I'm bringing the little flag, and that's because it had all the colors that I'm using. And because I have the flag coming out there, I'm going to go look for a piece that's going to also kind of work as a flag at the bottom of the layout where I have the other point of the triangle. And I found it in the 6x6 flower market paper pad. I found this cut apart, and I really like the sentiment. It says something about life, beauty, or something. So I'm going to cut that little, it comes around a 1-inch square. I'm going to cut it, I'm going to distress it, and I'm going to glue it at the bottom. That's going to bring some more that teal color that I have going on. And then once I have it in place, I'm going to, I thought, where am I going to add my lines of journal? I was thinking, oh my God, I think I'm going to have to cut this apart. And I'm thinking, you know what, I'm going to stretch the L idea that I have, and I'm going to cut 2 little slits on the paper and folded the edge. And then I'm going to use the peach paper that I have on my layout, on the layers, behind kind of backing the little slit that I created. And I'm just gonna, my idea was I'm gonna make it look like it rolled, but because it's such a thick cardstock, it didn't create that look. So you're gonna see that what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play with some of the fold so that it kind of creates a little crease. And then I'm just gonna add some stickers that kind of have the same colors that I have on the layers. These are, again, are gonna come from the Splendor collection, and the flower market collection are the ones that I use mostly. I use pretty much in this layout. And to hold the fold in place and to bring some of the brad look that I have, I'm going to use one of the brads. This one is from, again, the Carta collection, just to hold the fold in place. And then I had a little piece left over of the die cut, and like I said, it kind of creates like an S movement. So I added behind the cluster, behind at the bottom of the picture. And then after that, I'm just going to bring some enamel dots just to bring all the colors together, to bring the roundness. I have brads, so I thought I can play with the idea of some round and get a little bit more pops of color, you know, around the layout. Once I have that in place, I am going to add my lines of journal. And like I said, I struggle a little bit with the lines of journal positioning them. And then I thought, you know what, to bring the emphasis to the fold, I'm just going to add them right there. So I'm just going to draw some lines and going to write quite a bit with very small handwriting at the corner of the layout. And that's pretty much it. I love how this turned out. It took me less than an hour to put together. And honestly, it was such a joy to put it together because I was using stuff that I love. I love paper. I love die cuts. And it brought stuff from my stash that if I bought it, it's because I like it and it's good to use it. And I hope you try it. Let me know if you have any questions on how this came together. Don't forget to check all the materials at Scrapbook Nerd. They're all available there. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you very soon. Take care, guys.